All right, so I wanted to make a longer video about my system. So these are 6 455 watt bifacial Canadian solar panels. I'm currently working on installing the actuators, and note that if you put actuators more than one per a movable hinge, you have to have them synchronized. So these have optical sensors in them, and they can move as a unit. Otherwise, it could twist and break, which isn't cool. The next thing I did is that I took out the absorption, the absorption fridge module. So a lot of these Dinette and other RV refrigerators, the cooling unit can be removed off the fridge shell. This uses propane, which is fine, but in electric mode, it uses 455 watts of electricity, which is pretty intense just to keep things cool. So there's a company called Dutch Air out here in northern Indiana that makes compressor, 12-volt compressor, 12 or 24-volt compressor replacements. So this runs off 12 volts, and you take off the absorption unit, you bolt this on. It was a little bit of a pain, but there's some YouTube videos. I have some wiring to clean up back here. But yeah, there's a fan. I removed my roof exhaust for the propane, the combustion, which was leaking CO2 into the RV anyway, just because it was shitty build quality at the factory. And I added this Noctua fan, which I need to 3D print a shroud for, so it looks nice up there. The next thing we have is the mini split heat pump compressor and outdoor section, and I have it coming out of the bedroom itself. So it's really nice to save energy having the AC in the bedroom. You can close the door, close the curtains, and just cool one room, and then when you need to, you can open up the curtains and cool the whole unit. And how I mounted it, there's like this generator Ginny mount bumper kit, and it's actually really solid, so you don't have to worry about it falling off your RV. So moving into the inside, which is messy because I'm literally in the middle of doing all of this, I have my solar charge controller. I have a DC-DC charger from the alternator. This is a 24 volt to 12 volt charger buck converter unit because I have a 24 volt system. And then I have my home assistant router and all that stuff that I'm still figuring out the wiring for to make it clean. This is the disconnect for the solar panels, so I can turn them off on a breaker. So the fridge conversion comes with a fan kit. So the coils, this freezer gets really cold. I have Bluetooth temperature sensors in here. Otherwise, these coils will start to freeze over time. So the fans help keep the fridge in equal temperature and keep it from freezing. So the you can see the frost back here. This is -4 degrees when running, and then your actual fridge itself is 34 degrees. So it keeps it very cold and only uses about 120 watts when running instead of the 455. This is the interior of the mini split. So this is a Pioneer High SEER inverter plus unit. It does heating, cooling, and dehumidify. I installed a little fan that I can move around and angle all different ways to help keep because the bedroom's kind of closed in. So the cold air just kind of recirculates in the back, which is really nice at night. You save a lot of electricity. But when you want to cool the main area, you angle the fan out, and there you go. And here's a desk that I built, a 2-person desk. It's really messy again because I'm doing a bunch of work on stuff, but yeah, it's nice to have my full desktop out here. So we're gonna pull up the dinette seat. All right, so I have a do-it-yourself. I built this battery pack. It's 280 amp hours at 24 volts. So multiply those two for watt hours. I got an Overkill AS BMS with temperature sensors and stuff. I need the 3D print covers for all this. It is bolted down. I got to disconnect in some bus bars, fuse, and then the Victron Multi Plus, which is just an awesome unit. Also have a transfer switch that came with the RV there. Yeah, and there's a heating duct. I'm probably going to pierce that, I think, just to get a little bit of heat in here in the wintertime. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I did have to relocate the water pump. Oh, and I almost forgot, I'm using a bunch of ESP32s, so I'm going to go through here and create an auto start stop for my generator, put in my gauges, things like that. Also, the electric water heater, I'm going to use it as a solar dump, so when batteries are full, I'll dump the extra into my water heater. So yeah, that's about it. So the solar can totally run the heat pump, no problem. It uses about 750 watts at full tilt. I kept a stock AC. The issue with the stock AC, it uses about 13 to 1500 watts of power continuously whenever it's on. So it's like off, on, full load, no load. And then the heat pump only uses as much wattage as it needs at any specific moment. So if you're just like cooling the bedroom, it'll draw like 200 watts and the compressor's running and then turn off. It saves a lot of power. The fridge also saves a lot of power. And then, yeah, the only thing I really need to do, that's after I get this lifted on the roof with a crane, and I'm having to go through and reinforce it and make sure it's safe and space them out for aerodynamics and so the wind doesn't catch it. Gonna have to expand my battery bank to run the air conditioner and heating on more days like this. So anyway, thanks.